Court Philippe Chatrier, Paris, France, May 26, 2026, 3:15 p.m. In an instant, the most exquisite tennis stadium was transformed into something Roland Garros had never seen before. Allow me to set the scene. Crowds had flocked to see the second-round matches at the French Open, which was in full flow, but the intensity on the court the historic stadium had never seen anything like Philippe Chatrier. Every portion was adorned with the waving, synchronized waves of Philippine flags that appeared to have their own pulse. Since the first ball was hit, Laban Alex's chance had not stopped. For her second-round encounter, Alex Eala had just entered the court. Recovering from the devastation of her first-round marathon, the 20-year-old Filipina was determined to show that the uproar surrounding the code breach had not shattered her. There were the 40,000 fans who had caused the ticketing system to break down weeks before. There were the OFWs who had spent all of their savings to get here. There were the visionaries who had crossed continents to raise their banners. However, there was another person present as well. Elon Musk hadn't made an announcement about his visit. There was no social media teaser, no press release, and no well-planned photo opportunity. The world's richest guy just entered the stadium, sat down in the front row, and waited. The fans saw him right away. The security detail stiffened, phones were raised, and rumors circulated, but Musk held up his hand to tell them to wait. He was not visible. He was present to observe. Then he did something unexpected during a changeover. He got up, moved to the court's edge, and started taking branded clothes from a duffel bag. Custom-made shirts with the Philippine flag, Alex Eala's AE logo, and the word Laban printed across the back are not SpaceX swag or Tesla merchandise. He addressed the astonished spectators in the front seats, saying, "These are for you. Wear these and wave your flags for free, no catch." The stadium burst into flames. What transpired was a spectacle rather than a tennis match. The stands turned into a sea of red, white, blue, and black as thousands of fans donned the branded shirts in a matter of minutes. Alex Eala stood at the baseline and gazed up at the man who had transformed her match into a movement as the chants became louder and more urgent and the flags waved more quickly. She merely nodded, a silent acknowledgement between two combatants who knew that sometimes the greatest statements aren't made with words. She didn't wave or smile. The ensuing match was electrifying. Eala played the best tennis of her career thanks to the enthusiasm of the audience and the unexpected encouragement of the most erratic millionaire in the world. She won the first set 6-3 after breaking early and remaining firm. The stadium trembled. Elon Musk did not travel to Roland Garros to watch tennis. Rather, he came to make a statement that was inscribed on the backs of 15,000 spectators. Allow me to take you inside the mayhem that ensued after Musk's spontaneous shirt giveaway, as what transpired next was a cultural moment rather than merely a marketing gimmick. The stadium changed in a matter of minutes after Musk gave out the first batch of shirts. The Philippine flags continued to fly, but a sea of black t-shirts with the Philippine flag, Alex Eala's AE logo, and the word Laban in large white letters joined them. The supporters, who had previously been dressed normally, were now walking billboards for a movement that the world's wealthiest man had recently embraced. Instead of controlling the crowd, the security officers ended up distributing shirts. The stands transformed into a synchronized show of solidarity, shocking the tournament administrators who had been schooled to anticipate mayhem. They were even worn by the ball kids. One analyst, barely audible over the noise of the audience, declared, "This is insane." Fans adore Elon Musk's recent conversion of a tennis match into a marketing event. However, the players on the court sensed the change in intensity as well as the spectators. After being hesitant during the first few games, Eala found a new gear all of a sudden. Her initial serve found corners as her movement became more precise. The controversy surrounding her first-round defeat had weakened her faith, but it returned with a vengeance. In the second set, she broke early and quickly took a 3-0 lead. With each point, the audience, now wearing matching shirts, rose to their feet. Laban Alex's chants were now a proclamation rather than a request. A reporter from the stands wrote, "This is how the Eala effect looks." A 20-year-old flipping the sport on its head, billionaires in the front row, flags and slogans, and businesses transformed into banners. Musk wasn't done though. He walked to the port once more at the subsequent changeover, but this time he was carrying a loudhailer instead of shirts. "I've seen you fight, I've seen you never give up, I've seen you carry a nation on your shoulders, and I wanted these people to know that you're not carrying it alone," he added, his voice magnified by the stadium speakers. The audience roared. Let her know she's not alone by wearing these shirts, waving your flags, and chanting her name. He lifted his fist. Lubon. The stadium trembled. Together, 15,000 voices responded. Lubon. Standing at the baseline, Alex Eala dabbed at a tear. She nodded, turned to face the stands, and lifted her racket. She then delivered an ace. Even though the game was far from over, something had changed in everyone's hearts as well as on the scoreboard. The match was far from ended, even though the jerseys had been given out and the chant had been addressed. After witnessing rockets land on floating platforms in the middle of the ocean, Elon Musk was about to witness something much more unlikely. The richest man on the planet would forget about SpaceX, Tesla, and everything else except the 20-year-old Filipina fighting for her life on the red clay of Roland Garros if Alex Eala did what she did in the final set of that memorable second-round match. There had been a war in the second set. Eala had won 6-4, forcing a deciding in the last game by breaking her opponent's serve. Now wearing matching black shirts, the crowd was standing. For the last hour, Laban Alex's cries had not ceased. The flags appeared to have their own pulse as they waved and synchronized waves. Musk was seated in the front row, staring at the court with his hands clenched. Since the start of the game, he had not checked his emails, stock prices, or social media feeds. The man who was constantly planning for the future was fully present for the first time in years. The third set was a resilient gem. Eala got off to an early lead of 2-0. A higher-ranking veteran who had witnessed everything, her opponent refused to give up. She quickly retaliated, tying the set at 2. Each player refused to yield an inch as the momentum swung like a pendulum. Eala moved to the baseline to serve at 4-4, putting the game in jeopardy. The stadium held its breath. Musk bent over. The first serve was an ace that landed in the corner. The audience erupted. The second serve, which painted the line 30 love, was even better. Eala was just 2 points away from her greatest victory to date. However, her opponent, a fighter in her own right, retaliated. 30-30, deuce, advantage Eala, deuce once again. Every point was a battle, every rally a conflict, and the game went on. Then Eala did something that left Musk speechless at the fifth deuce. She avoided her backhand and used a 120-mile-per-hour serve to blast a winning forehand return. Before she could respond, the ball screamed past her opponent. Eala would serve for the match, 5-4. Laban Alex's chants were so loud that the arena rocked. Musk got up from his chair, but instead of cheering, he just observed the 20-year-old Filipina as she prepared to serve for a spot in Roland Garros' third round. Eala bounced the ball 3 times, twice, and once. She glanced at the stands where her mother, Risa, was praying by putting her hands together. She glanced at Elon Musk, who was standing in the front row with an unreadable expression. She gazed at the shirts, the banners, the thousands of faces that had come from all over the world to see this. She was a server. Her opponent's return floated long after the ball fell flush on the center line. 15. Love. One more serve. One more ace. 30, my love. Everyone in the crowd stood up. The flags flailed wildly. One more serve. Her opponent barely got a racket on it. 40, my love. 3 points for the match. The stadium held its breath. Eala threw the ball. She made a swing. The serve went wide. It was near, but not an ace. The feeble return from her opponent ended up in the center of the court. Eala intervened, slamming a forehand into the gap. Her opponent remained still. She didn't have to. The ball has vanished. Set, match, game. Eala, Alex. The stadium blew apart. With her racket lifted and tears streaming down her face, Eala dropped to her knees. With his hands still clenched and his eyes still set on the 20-year-old Filipino who had just accomplished the seemingly impossible, Elon Musk, the man who had revolutionized electric vehicles, commercial spaceflight, and social media, stood immobile as the flags waved and the cries resounded. Later, Elon Musk was waiting for Eala as she left the court. He said, "That was amazing. I have witnessed rockets land on their own. Although I have witnessed self-driving automobiles, I have never seen something like it." Eala grinned, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I appreciate you being here. I'm grateful for the clothes. I appreciate your faith." Musk gave a headshake. The clothes made me doubt your abilities. Because I had faith in you, I gave you the clothes. There's a distinction. He hesitated. Alex, keep fighting. More fighters are needed in the world. The true explosion was taking place on the screens of millions of people worldwide, not in Paris. Even though the game was over, the shirts had been distributed, and the crowd was still buzzing. What transpired after Elon Musk's historic entrance at Roland Garros would make a tennis match a worldwide sensation, so allow me to take you inside those hours. More people watched the video of Musk giving away branded shirts than any match point. The video has received 20 million views on YouTube, Instagram, X, and TikTok in a matter of minutes. A deluge of incredulity, adulation, and crazy conjecture filled the comment area. Elon Musk recently made a merchandise drop out of a tennis match. The greatest surprising crossover in sports history is this one. Billionaires are giving Alex Eala free clothing. There is a definite Eala effect. I'm not sure which is more bizarre, Musk's appearance or the fact that he brought personalized shirts bearing her brand. It's not a drill. Within hours, the hashtags Musk for Eala and Le Bon shirt became popular all around the world. A picture showing the stands turned into a sea of black jerseys was shared on the official Roland Garros social media account, along with the following caption. Merci Elon, merci Alex, and merci Philippines are examples of the Eala effect. Eala was congratulated on the triumph in a brief statement from the WTA, which was still reeling from her earlier remarks on player burnout. However, the words seemed insignificant. Eala and Musk, two warriors from disparate realms who had come together on the crimson clay of Paris, owned the moment. During her post-match press conference, Eala was questioned about Musk's appearance. She said, her voice still raspy from the bout, "I didn't know he was coming. He was in the front row, distributing shirts bearing my logo when I turned around during a changeover. I gave a headshake. I believed I was experiencing hallucinations. I had to find out from my coach if it was genuine." Everyone in the room laughed. However, the shirts were more about the supporters than about him. He wanted them to know that someone saw them and had faith in them. And that's what the Eala impact has always been about. Not me, but them. Musk uploaded a picture on his X account later that evening. It was a picture of the stands at Court Philippe Chatrier, with the Philippine flags flying overhead and fans dressed in identical black shirts. The caption was straightforward. "I've witnessed many amazing things, such as self-landing rockets and self-driving automobiles, but nothing could have prepared me for 15,000 people shouting Le Bon together. Alex Eala is a movement rather than just a tennis player. Hashtag Eala effect, Bon." In less than a day, the post received over 15 million likes. Le Bon was Eala's one-word response. The final, the trophy ceremony, and the crowning of a champion were not the moments that would be remembered from the 2026 event, even if the French Open would go on and there would be more games to play and battles to fight. Alex Eala demonstrated that the Eala effect was too strong for even the wealthiest man on the planet to withstand on the day Elon Musk turned Roland Garros into a merchandise giveaway. The remaining question is easier to answer than it first appears. Will the next generation of Filipino athletes remember Eala's triumphs or the movement that made her unstoppable when they take the stage, motivated by the flags they saw in Paris, the chants they heard from the stands, and the billionaire who gave them shirts in their honor? For more stories that go beyond the score, leave a comment below and subscribe to Court Legacy. During Alex Eala's second-round match at the French Open, Elon Musk made an unexpected appearance and distributed shirts with her AE logo, the Philippine flag, and the word Laban on them. Court Philippe Chatrier turned into a sea of black as the CEO of SpaceX and Tesla gave away thousands of free shirts to spectators. Throughout the game, the fans, who were now all dressed same, chanted Laban. For the first time in her career, Eala advanced to the third round of Roland Garros after winning 6-3, 4-6, 7-5. In a single day, over 50 million people watched the video of Musk's giveaway. Later, Musk wrote on X, "I've seen rockets land themselves, but nothing prepared me for 15,000 people chanting Laban in unison." Alex Eala is a movement. The hashtags for the Laban shirt and Musk for Eala became viral. After the game, Eala said, "I thought I was hallucinating. I had to find out from my coach if it was genuine." After the win, her ranking is expected to increase to number 34. In the third round, she will take against Maria Sakkari, the 12th seed.